Thanks for waiting. We're ready for the Pokemon Sword Run by KonceptioN2. The category will be Tower of Two Fists. Take it away and good luck.
Thank you so much, and hello, Game Over Cancer crowd. My name is KonceptioN2. I'm excited to be able to showcase this specific run of Pokemon Sword, which is the DLC run first. So we actually have to start off with a very specific date and time here, which I'll get a little bit into in the run. So I'm going to confirm that and get into the game now. Shout out to new Pokemon Snap coming out in a few days. I got it preloaded on the Switch. Hope you're all ready for that one. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so I don't believe we had any incentives for this game, so I'm just going to let's just call our character GOC. Seems good. All right, time is going to start as soon as I click yes here. So get ready for the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, and promptly right away in the run, we have about 2.5 minutes of a cutscene. So welcome to Pokemon Sword. This is the Sword version, and as mentioned by Manix, we are running the category which is called Tower of Two Fists, specifically the Get Urshifu subcategory of that. So what that means is Tower of Two Fists is the first downloadable content for Pokemon Sword and Shield, which focuses on the Isle of Armor. The Get Urshifu category is specific. It's kind of like a good ending versus a bad ending situation. So Get Urshifu is the good ending. So we extend it a little bit longer for that run. Worth noting as well, this category has two routes, two main ways of accomplishing it, which is to utilize Sobble mostly throughout until we get our Kubfu, or the route I'm going to be doing is going to be using some Sobble, and then we're going to throw in some Ninetales action, and then we're going to get to our Kubfu. And the reason why I usually choose to run this route in marathons as opposed to the Sobble route, which is actually a little bit faster, is because the Ninetales route is actually a little bit more marathon safe. If we run all Sobble, we do have to depend a little bit on what our Sobble's stats are, whereas in the Ninetales route, even if we get a bad Vulpix, which is what we catch to make this happen, we can just catch another Vulpix. We're going to have a big patch in there, and it's significantly faster than resetting and going through a 2-minute cutscene to reset our Sobble. So it's a little bit more entertaining that way. Plus, it's more unique. We get to see more Pokemon. We get to see the route utilized in different ways. So it's a lot more fun in a marathon setting, in my opinion. What makes this run really cool to me is that we still start a fresh save file. So we're still starting from scratch here. We're not just using a pre-existing file and running into the DLC. We're still starting from scratch. We're going to start all the way at the beginning, and then as soon as we can, we're going to get over to the Isle of Armor. And that creates a lot of interesting situations for us because we put ourselves at a disadvantage doing that a little bit. It makes it so that we don't have the bike. We don't have the ability to surf. We don't have the ability to fly. So it makes it so we have to get a little bit creative with our traveling options, but you'll see how we circumvent that system quite a bit. But first, of course, we got to get through the hand-holdiness that Pokemon likes to give us, which is a very basic tutorial-like stuff, changing our settings and all of that. So once we gain control, which I promise is almost here, we're almost through the cutscene. We're gonna run a little bit towards grabbing our bag, and then we're actually gonna change the settings. Weirdly enough, it only takes like a few seconds, but I'm gonna actually focus on that part a little bit because I need to make sure all the settings are turned. Settings that we're gonna change are things like turning off battle animations, turning off the ability to make nicknames, and turning off movies so it skips cinematic cutscenes and stuff like that. So now that we've gained control, gotta run over here. And I'm going to change my settings real quick. Oops, see? That's what happens. There we go. All right, here we go. There we go. So we also increased text speed. Oops, should grab the bag, huh? We also increased text speed and things like that as well. A lot of options that are changed. Turn off swapping so we don't have the option to change Pokemon after every Pokemon we defeat. Things like that. All basic stuff. If you've seen a Pokemon speedrun, you've seen this 100 times because every run does it. We just don't need all of those options. We're going to head outside here. Head on over to Hop's house and things like that. If you're unfamiliar with Pokemon Sword and Shield in general, this is the 8th generation of Pokemon, by the way. this takes place in the Galar region, which is kind of modeled after England / parts of the UK. So you'll get to see some fun influences there if you're in the EU crowd, which statistically you probably are, because I'm in America, for example, and it is about 3 a.m. my time. So if you're up and awake and you're in America, you're up very late or up very early, depending on how you look at it. But in the EU, you're probably just up for the morning, like a normal person. So you'll get to see some fun influences there. First things first, we got to get through this beginning of the game stuff. Meet our rival. In this case, it's Hop. And Hop gets a lot of flack, I'll be honest. And in a casual setting, and his story arc for the whole story, which we're not going to really explore at all, I think Hop is actually a pretty cool rival. Very unique as opposed to other games. From a speedrun perspective, unfortunately, Hop is quite a bit annoying, and we'll get into the specifics of that when we actually get to fight Hop a couple times here. But for now, head back out of Hop's house. We're actually going to go down this path and into another cutscene where we'll meet Hop's brother Leon, who is the current Pokemon League champion. Got to get all that exposition out of the way. Worth mentioning, so the 3 starters as well, Sobble, Grookey, and what's the other one? Scorbunny. There you go. We will be choosing Sobble, just because Sobble's moveset is ideal for the early game. Originally, we were trying to utilize Grookey for this route as well at the very beginning when we were trying to route it out, but just did not have the early game firepower that we needed like our Sobble does. So we're still going to use our Sobble. If we were going to do the Sobble route, which is where we utilize Sobble almost the entire run until we don't need to anymore, we would need to ensure that we have a Sobble with a really good special attack, which if you're unfamiliar with how the mechanics of the Pokemon game work, special attack is the stat that is used for special type moves, and moves that are like, for example, Sobble has a water gun, which we utilize a lot. Water gun is a special type move as opposed to a physical move, and physical moves being, think like punching, kicking, slashing, things of that nature are physical type moves, which those would use attack as a space stat. But since we will primarily use water gun the entirety of the run, we would need to make sure special attack is high. However, since we don't use Sobble for all that long, just some early game trainers, even if our special attack sucks, it's not that big of a deal, because we can just kind of manipulate through it. It might cost us an extra turn or two here and there, but ultimately it doesn't make a difference. But it's worth doing it this way and doing the Ninetales route. So like, again, we don't have to reset for a good Sobble should that be the case. Also unique to Gen 8 speedrunning, for the first time ever, if you follow along with Pokemon at all, typically your rival will then pick the starter that is stronger against your starter. So for example, if I pick the water starter, then the rival would pick the grass starter to counteract it. In this game, however, our rival will actually pick the starter that is weaker to us. So we pick Sobble. Hop is going to pick Scorbunny, which does give us a little bit of speed up top because we can defeat Scorbunny rather easily. So also unique from a speedrunning perspective. Shout out to this picnic, looks absolutely delicious. Could go for a kebab myself right now. Also, would love to pose this for the group, for all y'all watching, supporting Game Over Cancer. And supporting this excellent cause. This is gonna be what I call an unofficial bid war of sorts. All right, so stick with me. A little less than an hour into this run, we're going to be given a choice, and that choice will be to choose Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I'm not going to really elaborate more. We have to choose Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I will choose Squirtle most likely, unless we get a lot of donations in favor of Bulbasaur or something. Now, this isn't going to be tracked or anything, but if we get a loud vocal support, I'll do Bulbasaur instead. But, Squirtle Squad, right here, look at the camera. Squirtle Squad's in force. But here we are. We are in our first fight with Hop. Hop does have 2 Pokemon, which makes it a little bit longer. He throws out Wooloo first, which we are just going to pound. Typically only takes 3 pounds, unless we get crits or something like that. Can take 4 if our attack is especially low. So let's see how we do. We still got the 3, so that's good. Luckily enough for us, as soon as we level up to 6, we get Water Gun. So that's really good. And by the way, our special attack is middling. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Depending on, you know, how we progress further here. So we get to see now why Hop can be a little annoying. Things like this. So Hop loves to interject with flavor text when certain things happen. For example, if you use a super effective move, he always loves to throw in some flavor text about type advantages. And things like that. If you crit, like I just did, which it was useless, by the way. So this doesn't save us time, it loses us time. Not only with a critical hit special text, but because Hop also gives us some flavor text about critting as well. It makes it, you know, even that much more slow. So Hop, that's why Hop is annoying from a speedrunning perspective. The good news is that that was the completion of the first Hop fight, and we only have to fight Hop 1 more time, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Great. So Hop is complete. We're going to continue on a little bit here, but we do have kind of what I kind of call like an extended interactive cutscene here. So we're going to be going over here into the woods. What's going to happen in these woods is we are going to hit 3 encounters, and it's going to be a Squovit, a Rookidee, and a Squovit. It's always the same. What is different is their stats. So it doesn't matter from a fighting perspective, because we're going to run away from all 3 of them. We don't need the experience. We don't need to catch them, anything like that. The only thing that could save us time is the Rookidee, the second encounter we get. Some Rookidees have an ability called Unnerve. Which is an ability that will always pop up at the beginning of the fight that says that you can't use berries. If we get a Rookidee that does not have Unnerve, it saves us about a second, because we don't have to endure that text that pops up on the screen. So just a fun little fact there. But like I said, these always pop up. They always are in roughly the same location. They just vary in stats and things like that. So Squovit, and then here's the Rookidee. Let's see if we get that free second of time save. Let's see, come on, let's get that good luck. Yeah, free second of time save, no Unnerve. Let's go, the run is blessed. Awesome. So here we are traveling through the woods. One more encounter, and then right after this we have really what is just an interactive cutscene where we're going to encounter one of the legendaries of the game, and it's going to put us into a battle with it. And I if I weren't holding a controller, I would do that in quotes, because it's not a battle. All that's going to happen is we're going to use pound 3 times, and the screen will get progressively more and more foggy until it turns all white, and then we're going to leave the forest. It's just like it's just a cutscene. So we got quite a little bit of time here while that happens. If there is anything that we'd like to mention in terms of donations, plugs, incentives, anything we got going on, Max, we got a minute or 2 for that.
Sure thing. We don't have any donations currently, but I do want to mention that since you gave us the option of picking Squirtle or Bulbasaur, we're going to see if we can try to actually throw in an actual incentive.
Oh, okay.
So I'll keep you updated on that. I'm still working in the back end for that, but yeah, you got me curious, so I decided to pull some strings.
Well, that was not my intention. I did not mean to make extra work for y'all, but I just wanted to make it a little bit more interesting if we could. So apologies if I added a little extra work to your plate there.
No, that's no work at all. We're all for fun. But yeah, I'll let you know for sure if we put it up. But if not, we'll work something out.
Okay, well,
we'll scream in the chat like you told us.
Yeah, scream in the chat. You know, like I said, show us with your donations. $1 is great. You know, everything counts towards you know, raising money for cancer research and cancer prevention and everything we can do to help out. So and if you'd like to, you know, shout out your favorite Pokemon, shout out if you want Bulbasaur or Squirtle, shout out whatever you want, your cancer experiences, whatever the case may be. We're happy to hear them, we're happy to react to them. So if you have it, if you're able, go ahead and support. As mentioned, again, we were in an interactive cutscene with that legendary. We will regain consciousness here. And then it starts to open up a little bit more. We get a little bit more freedom, but unfortunately the run is very heavy in cutscenes and exposition at the top. But it will open up, and we'll get to some more unique strategies coming up here soon. Shout out to Leon's Charizard, by the way. Charizard's always got to make an appearance. If it's a Pokemon game, there's got to be a Charizard, so we'd love to see it. One key thing here that's very easy for especially newer runners to do is they can forget to talk to mom and try to progress the story without it, and you'll get stopped and say, hey, did you go talk to your mom? You have to walk all the way back. So always remember, if you're going to leave home for an extended period of time, tell your mom. It's simple. All right, so now we are getting ready to do a little bit of actual Pokemon fun here. So we're gonna head over to Route 1, and we have a little bit of tech. So what we're looking for on Route 1 is we're going to be catching a Pokemon. We prefer it's a Wooloo, and even further, we prefer it's a level 5 or 6 Wooloo. The reason why is if it's a level 5 or 6 Wooloo specifically, we'll actually level up, because in this game, you get experience from not only defeating Pokemon, but also catching Pokemon. Something that they added and adapted from, you know, Pokemon Go and the Let's Go series and more recent generations. So level 8 would make it so that the coming trainers would go a lot faster. We got a level 6, so that's great news. I have been getting bad luck when I get a high level Wooloo that they like to break out of the ball. Let's see. Let's go. Run is blessed. All right, so now our Sobble's going to be level 8, which obviously is going to give us that stat boost and everything like that. The other thing that this accomplishes, it's not only to give us stats and to do it for fun. It also skips a catch tutorial that would happen on Route 2 by Leon, but because the game reads that we've already caught a Pokemon, it determines that we don't need to see a catch tutorial, rightly so, as we've already caught Pokemon. So that's a very key piece of speed tech, not only for leveling, but for, you know, cutscene skips and things of that nature. Speaking of cutscenes, we have another one here where we meet the professor of the region's assistant, Sonia, who's gonna hook us up with our first Pokedex. Shout outs to Yamper, who is a Gen 8 Pokemon, Electric Corgi. Couldn't be cuter if I could think of it myself. But I'm a little biased because I am personally a big time Pokemon dog fan. My favorite Pokemon is Arcanine. I want to someday like play a Pokemon game, just have an all dog team, you know. That's my jam. So Yamper really strikes a chord with me in particular. But also, I mean, what's not to love? Just adorable. One thing we are going to do is after this, we're actually going to be approached by an NPC who's going to give us some potions, which is actually really good because we might have to use 1 or 2 early on in the game before we buy some extra. So that's very useful. But even after that, when we regain control, we're actually going to pick up a potentially useful item, I should say, because we might not even use it, but we might have to, depending on some RNG in the late game. So here's this NPC. Gotta hook us up with the potions. Again, we appreciate it. Thank you, good sir. You didn't have to do that. You don't even know us, but you know, that's nice. Then we're gonna go over in the swirly grass to our right, and we're gonna pick up this item, which is a rare candy. We'll get into a little bit about why we might need to use that later on, way later on. Not yet, but coming up soon. Then some more, you know, tutorial type stuff where Hop tries to explain to us what a Pokemon Center is. You know, if you don't know what a Pokemon Center is at this point, I don't know what to tell you. But luckily enough, we can actually skip some of the dialogue here, and we need to come in here anyway. So it's not all bad. So Hop's gonna leave. We're actually gonna run over to the PC here, and we're gonna deposit that Wooloo we caught because we don't need it. Great. And then we're actually gonna make a pit stop over here at this vendor. Oops, wrong berries. And we're gonna grab 3 Pekka berries. If you're unfamiliar, Pekka berries are berries that heal poison, which we'll get into a little bit as to why that will be important later on once we get into more details about what the DLC is and what it involves. For now, we're still in the base game. We're still in like the beginning of the base game. We have not yet touched upon any DLC content, but it'll be pretty clear as to when we switch over. Here we go, we meet Hop here too, and then Leon comes and joins us as well. This is where that catch tutorial would happen had we not already caught something, so we're saving time. And then, yeah, we get to walk through some grass. Now, if you played Pokemon games in the past, several older generations, even some of the newer generations, typically how Pokemon grass works is you walk through grass. Every so often you'll be randomly encountered with a Pokemon. This game takes a page out of Let's Go's book, and you can see Pokemon that pops up in the grass, which, you know, regardless of how you feel about how that impacts the series as a whole, is great for speedrunners, because typically in Pokemon speedruns, to avoid encounters that we don't need, we typically have to buy a lot of repels and things like that to make sure Pokemon don't bother us. But since we can see everything that pops up Pokemon wise, we just dodge them, which is great. Here we have our first, I don't want to say wild trainer, because it makes it sound like this kid lives in the wilderness or something, but, which he doesn't. But like our first trainer that we encounter that's not Hop, basically. Ooh, that's bad luck. So typically, I thought based off of what our special attack is, that would be fine. Typically when we are level 8, we can actually two-shot this Squovit. But it looked like I got a good roll on the first water gun and a bad roll on the second. And whenever I say roll, that is because whenever you use any move that damages, you actually have 16 different possible options for damage. Now they're not all different values, so it's not like 1 through 16 or something like that. You know, you might have, you know, options 1 through 5 might be 10 damage, and 6 through 12 might be 12 damage or stuff like that. But 16 different values of damage. So when I say roll, a low roll, that means it's probably a lower range, high roll, upper range. You might have noticed as well, there was another trainer there. We just, you know, circumvent by walking around the rock. You know, we got to go fast here. And then we fight our second trainer on Route 2 here, who has 2 Pokemon, Blipbug and Nickit. Blipbug is particularly annoying because it will always use Struggle Bug. And Struggle Bug is a move that lowers our special attack, so it automatically makes our moves a little bit weaker, which is unfortunate. But, you know, nothing we can't overcome. And then we take out Nickit. Based on my special attack, it looks like this Nickit is going to have to take 4 shots to kill, if I had to guess. Maybe we could do it in 3. That was a high roll. So let's see. Can we do it in 3? Thanks, game. Okay, so that was pretty good. So we just had 1 extra turn between the 2 fights, which is not overly bad. We'll take that. And then this house straight in front of us, as you can see, Hop, is actually the professor of the region, who's Professor Magnolia, I believe. Magnolia, sounds right. So we're gonna have a little bit more exposition, a little bit more dialogue here, and then we're going to gear up for our second fight with Hop. We have you know, like at least a good 30 or so seconds. Any plugs that we happen to have, Mannix, in that 30-second time?
Nothing yet, but I was gonna ask you how annoying is Quick Attack in the speedrun, because I guess Quick Attack, if it's like before, basically outspeeds anything, so that must be annoying for a speedrunner.
So it certainly can be in Pokemon speedrunning as a whole. Luckily, if I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I think that Nickit that we just fought is the only Pokemon in this run that utilizes Quick Attack that I can think of, or at least the only Pokemon that has the AI to use it. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, actually.
At least it's a fast animation.
Yeah, it's a fast, and especially since we turn off animations, it's relatively quick. That Nickit, like, it's not surprising to see that Nickit use Quick Attack every turn. What I always like to focus on to see is if that Quick Attack gets used on the last turn, that it would die, because then it extends the fight by a half turn at least. So I don't like to see that if I can avoid it, but you know, Nickit loves to use Quick Attack. This fight with Hop, by the way, absolutely simple. We water gun to win, but there are a few things that can affect how long this fight takes that are outside of our control. Useless crits is always a thing that can happen. Meaning we get a critical on a hit that would have already killed anyway, so then we're going to get not only, again, that critical hit text, but some extra annoying flavor text. Our special attack must be really bad, actually, because almost always at this level you're going to two-shot that Wooloo, but we had to three-shot it, so either we got pitiful rolls for both, or our special attack is junk. It doesn't look particularly good. Score Bunny. So typically we'll take 2 hits. The turn that Score Bunny gets, can use Tackle or Ember. We really don't want to see Ember because it has flavor text. We got Ember, of course. So yeah, anytime he's about to use Ember, he says, "It's half a taste of true power. Our flames are burning bright." Text line. If he was going to use Tackle, he wouldn't have said anything. So maybe the run isn't so blessed, but we're trying. And then third Pokemon that Hop's going to throw out is a Rookidee, which is of no consequence to us. Unfortunately, this Rookidee will always have Unnerve, so it's not like we could save time on that text anyway. If we had crit the Score Bunny or Rookidee on the first attack, we would have one-shotted it, which actually would have been helpful, but no such luck. All right. So, but that is the last time that we're going to fight Hop in this run. If we were doing an any percent run of this game, we'd fight Hop like, I don't know, like 7 more times, something like that. If I had to guess, I don't know, I've never counted, but it's a lot more times. Like we do, but that's it. We're done with Hop, so that's great. We just have another extended cutscene here where we're gonna get see some stuff fall out of the sky. We're gonna get a Dynamax band, which if you're unfamiliar with this generation, that is this generation's kind of gimmick boo, for lack of a better term. Dynamaxing, which basically like makes your Pokemon really big, and gives it heavy attack power and stuff like that. If you are a fan of Dynamaxing, good news for you, we will use it once in this run. Just once though, just the once. But it is cool to see. And then yeah, just more exposition. One thing I will note as well, which you might have thought about a little bit, I fought those 2 trainers before I went into Hop, but I came into this Hop fight full health, and that was because in this early game there's just a lot of free heals. We get a lot of free heals in the early game for some reason. So that is really also helpful from a speedrunning perspective, because it's a lot easier to plan around free heals as opposed to, do I need to take a center? Do I need to buy potions to heal out of this? Do I need to replenish my power points for any move, and things like that? So that's really nice that the game decided to do that for us. After we get through these cutscenes, we're gonna walk back into Wedgehurst, which is the town we were at before, and then we're gonna actually hop on the train, make our way over to the wild area, which as opposed to having every city separate with huge routes in between them, there is a large wild area kind of in the center of everything, that you can catch a lot of Pokemon at varying levels. Which is a pretty cool concept in my opinion. I think it's pretty cool. The game also does have routes that you can catch Pokemon at as well, so it kind of blends the 2 concepts, which I think is pretty unique. But once we get into the wild area, we get to have some fun and do some abnormal things to go fast, which I really enjoy. But first,
you have time
go ahead.
Donation before you go wild.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time. Go for it.
Ultima Aura dropped $10.04. That would be US dollars, and says Bulba Boy Squad. So now we got some curious Bulbasaur choosers. So Bulbasaur's in the lead. So for those of you who are just joining us, Conception said for fun, if you want to throw some donations towards Squirtle or Bulbasaur choice, about halfway into the run, he's going to make a choice. No spoilers as to what happens, but you're free to make him choose who's going to take and what happens. So with that, Bulbasaur's in the lead. Go Team Bulba.
Yeah. Okay. Go Team Bulba. Go Team Bulba. Okay. Now I'm a big fan of Gen 1. Gen 1 is my favorite gen. I can acknowledge it's probably not the best gen, but it's my favorite one. Mainly for nostalgia purposes. So I really love all three of the Gen 1 starters. But Bulba Gang is coming through. You know, my Squirrel Squad could show up as well. I'm not going to complain. You know. So. Yeah, let's see. We'll see if we get any more donations towards this just for fun incentive.
I'm gonna bite my lip and wait.
Yeah, we still got time. Like I said, it's about a little less than an hour through the run, I would say, is when we'll have to make that decision. Like the 55-minute mark or so, I think, depending on how things go.
Just about half an hour, give or take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give or take. There will be some RNG elements in there as well, so it's going to be really give or take. We haven't had to encounter too much RNG yet, besides a little bit of the fights. So, but RNG, this is a heavily influenced RNG run. It's just a lot in the middle and end of the game. But you'll see exactly what I mean a little bit later on. So we're about to be in the wild area. If I were doing the Sobble route, this would be just where we start diverging paths very quickly. So you saw when at the very beginning of the run, when I first got started, I had to set the date and time to a very specific time, and that is to manipulate some stuff starting here. So setting the date and time for when it is gives us a specific weather pattern. The weather pattern that we're going to get is drought. Which is very hot and dry, which is great because if you recall, the Pokemon that we're going to be focusing on in the mid game here is Ninetales. So not only is this going to create a spawn of Vulpixes for us to choose from, it's also going to boost the effect of fire type moves, which is, as you can see, will be pretty useful going forward. Another divergence here that would occur between the Sobble route is the first thing we're going to do when we regain control is we're going to walk towards an Onix that's just to our left as we start walking. If we were doing the Sobble route, we would be banking on trying to kill this Onix for a lot of experience. Because of doing the Ninetales route, I want this Onix to kill me as fast as possible, and that is because we're going to be utilizing this Onix for a Death Warp. So hopefully, so the Onix has 2 moves that attack and 2 moves that don't. Rock Slide is the one we want. Curse is not at all what we want. Don't do Curse. The other move it has is Dragon Breath, but that does take 2 shots to kill unless we get crit on. Stop using Curse, Onix, please. Just kill me. And of course, you know, depending on which route you do, you always get the option that you don't want. Like if I wanted to kill this Onix right now, you know, I would have got one-shotted turn 1. You know how it goes. That's how it always goes. Of course, we got Dragon Breath here, so we still need to get another shot. Oh, good, I crit on him. Terrific. Can you please just do the thing? Onix, please. Oh, brutal. See, I told you, RNG takes place in the middle of the game here, starting here. This is particularly bad. Again, want to reiterate, it's 50-50. There's Rock Slide. Rock Slide is what we want because Rock Slide would have one-shot us, but it's also not a 100% accurate move. You know, a casual 10-turn fight that could be done in 1 turn. Gotta love Pokemon RNG. Okay, so we die here. Now, this NPC heals us up for 1, and then asks us, because we died, she just says, do you want me just to teleport you to the gate of the next town? Which is great, because that saves us walking the entire length of the wild area. Now, because that fight was so terrible, it's probably hit or miss as to whether or not I even saved time on that. You know, it might have been better off walking at that point. But you know, even when I get a bad Onix fight, usually it only takes like, you know, 3, 4, 5 turns, not 10 turns like it just took. But you know what I say? I say that Onix knew that I was doing a marathon that was raising money to help prevent cancer and provide money to cancer research, and it wanted to extend it even further. So to that, I say thank you, Onix. The reason why we want to warp over here, by the way, is we need to get this Pokeball that's straight ahead of us, and this Pokeball contains a Firestone. And if you're unfamiliar, Vulpix evolves into Ninetales via a Firestone, so that's why we're going to use it. And then we're going to take another Death Warp, and we're going to opt to use this Rhyhorn. The Delcatties that are also in there are pretty bad. I would have also taken a Skorupi had it popped up, but Rhyhorn's a good option. The only reason why I don't love using Rhyhorn over Skorupi is that sometimes the Rhyhorns can be slower than us because they're, you know, big bulky Pokemon. But luckily we got one shot and it was faster, so that worked out. And then this time we warp back here again, but we're not going to. This time when she says, "Do you want me to take you to the next town?" We're going to say no, so we stay here. And then we're going to venture off into the grass to catch a Vulpix. Now, these grassy areas have Vulpix that range between level 7 and 10. We cannot take a level 7, it's too low. And we need to have a Vulpix with specific stats. Specifically, we need good special attack and speed. So I will catch a Vulpix. If it has bad stats, I'll have to catch another one. Or if it could be level 7, obviously can't use it. We're just going to straight up run. But like I said, the good thing about this is, as opposed to having to reset, you know, for a Sobble, there's just Vulpix abound. I can run, I can recatch, I can do whatever I need to do. Okay, great. So this one's level 9, which we can take. So we're gonna just weaken it one shot just to make the catch a little easier. And then we're gonna catch it. And then at level 9, I actually have a table of stats here that I'm gonna compare against. So at level 9, we're hoping to see at least 14 special attack and at least 16 speed. Now, if we could take 13 special attack and 15 speed if it comes to it, but I'd rather not. If I have both, then I definitely won't. If I have one or the other, I'll probably risk it. But let's see what we get. All right, so special attack is 15. That's great. Speed is 19, which is great. This is actually a really good Vulpix. Okay, wonderful. So we're gonna swap it to the top. We're going to go into our bag. We're going to use the Firestone. We're gonna evolve it. Perfect. This is actually a really good one. So can't complain too much. Now, one thing that I skipped over a little bit was that you might have noticed that I was able to go into my PC from my menu, which is a kind of a new skill to do. Not used to seeing that in Pokemon games. But that is a new thing that is added to this generation called the box link, which means that you can now that I have it, I can access my PC from anywhere, which is a very useful skill because we do some strategic swapping and depositing whenever we need to catch things and things like that. We're gonna head over to this what is it called, Shedinja? Is that what's called? Nope, Ninjask. Wrong ninja based Pokemon. And then we're going to fight this for some experience. The reason why we fight this Ninjask, obviously it's a bug type, so we have the type advantage, which is helpful. Not only that, this Ninjask only has a few moves that do damage to us. It's a higher level, and those damaging moves are pretty low damage. We get a fat amount of experience from it and with little risk. So that's basically what we do. And because our special attack is really solid, we 2-shot it, which is great. We could sometimes have to 3-shot it. I think you could even get as bad as a 4-shot, depending on if you get a low-level Vulpix. But 4-shot is very rare, if it happens at all. 3-shot is somewhat common. 2-shot is pretty good. But now we're actually done in this wild area for now. We're going to make our way back up, and we're actually going to take the train back to Wedgehurst for 2 reasons. One, we're actually just about done with our base game exploration. We're actually going to make our way over to the Isle of Armor very soon, but we do have to do one pit stop and back in Wedgehurst first. And you might be wondering, why do we have to return to Wedgehurst and do something when we were already there? Why didn't we just do it there the first time? And that is because this is very specific to Ninetales. Also want to just shout out this train worker here who has train track sideburns. That is job dedication if I've ever heard it. So shout out to that person who must really love their job at the train station. But I digress. We're going to run back to the Pokemon Center here, and we're actually going to talk to the vendor that's all the way on the left. Gen 8 has this very cool feature where you can talk to somebody in any Pokemon. Oop, not the right nickname. That's not what I care about. Oops, it ate my input. Remember a move. So you can talk to this vendor, and no matter what level your Pokemon is, you can actually learn anything from its moveset from any level at any time. So for example, if I wanted to learn Flamethrower, but Ninetales doesn't learn Flamethrower to say like 30 something, I don't need to wait for Ninetales to be level 30. I can just go to this person and learn Flamethrower from them, which is great because that means my level 11 Ninetales can have an absolutely gorgeous move set right away. I just have to go talk to the person to get the moves. Also, it's free, so it's pretty overpowered, if I'm being honest. But I'm not complaining. One more move here. So the moves that we are teaching our Ninetales are Nasty Plot, Flamethrower, Safeguard, and Fire Blast. Flamethrower and Fire Blast, I'd like to imagine, are pretty self-explanatory. You know, high damaging fire type moves, makes sense. Nasty Plot is a move that heavily raises our special attack, which, as you can imagine, is also very useful for us, as fire type moves are special attack moves. And finally, Safeguard, which is a move that when you use it, you are given a free 5 turns that prevent status changes, meaning I can't be poisoned or confused or put to sleep, you know, yada, yada, yada. So that's going to be useful for a couple key fights. As an introduction to the Isle of Armor, oh no. As an introduction to the Isle of Armor, the reason why I said oh no is because I talked to that Slowpoke from the side. When that happens, you have to wait for him to turn, which, as you can imagine, a Slowpoke is pretty slow, but it's fine. It wastes like 2 seconds or something. Our introduction to the Isle of Armor is this Slowpoke. So we can't defeat this Slowpoke, we have to catch it. However, this game, and I think other later generations, have a unique challenge in place that if a Pokemon is a higher level than you, it significantly makes it harder to catch. So we can't use Ninetales to catch it because our Ninetales is level 11, the Slowpoke is level 12. Obviously, that's going to be difficult. However, our Sobble is level 12. So we're going to swap to Sobble here and catch the Slowpoke, hopefully on the first ball. Good. Very good. So that's what we do. We weaken it with Ninetales, swap to Sobble, catch the Slowpoke. So that's a little bit of strategy there. Should we have chosen to do the Sobble route, we wouldn't have a Ninetales here. Obviously, we would just have Sobble at a higher level than he is now. But we would have bought a Quick Ball from a vendor, and we would have just thrown the Quick Ball right away. So, you know, there's give and take there. Obviously, we would have had to waste time to go to the vendor to get the Quick Ball in the first place. But the Quick Ball does catch the Slowpoke almost consistently without having to weaken it, which is great. All right, and guess what? We are on to the Isle of Armor. Say goodbye, base game. We're in DLC territory now. I'll also say, you might have seen there as well, there was another NPC there that was hanging out with who I like to call track burns, you know, train track sideburns, which is Clara. Now, Clara is going to become our de facto rival for this DLC instead of Hop. Interesting point of note, I am playing on the Sword version. Sword is what has Clara. If you played this on the Shield version, has a completely different rival named Avery. The differences being Clara is a poison type specialist and Avery is a psychic type specialist. So they each have their unique challenges, of course. So we're gonna menu here, hop in our box, and we're gonna deposit both Sobble, Sobble and Slowpoke because we don't need them. I'm trying to, jeez. Please, okay, fine. We're just gonna do it solo. I don't know why that gave me such trouble. There we go. And then we're also, while we're here, we're just gonna hop in our bag really quick and go over to our berries and equip a cherry berry. Now, cherry berry, if you're unfamiliar, is a berry that prevents or heals paralysis, which will not matter for this first fight, which we're going to fight Clara for the first time in just a second, but it will matter for the fight after that. And just to save a menu, instead of having to menu twice, I'm just going to do it now because it doesn't particularly matter. There's nothing Clara could do to paralyze us, so it's not like the berry is going to get used in any regard anyway. So Clara's gonna head out. Right before we fight off Clara, though, we are going to quickly hop into the train vendor here and just buy some potions and some awakenings, which will be useful. Well, hopefully they won't be useful if I'm being honest, because we don't want to be put to sleep. But there's a high likelihood that we do, so we might have to use them at some point. And potions are obviously self-explanatory. So here we are. This is the Isle of Armor. The first DLC, and like I said, we're gonna kick it off with a fight against Clara here. And this fight is relatively not a problem. The only time that this fight can be a problem is if, one, your special attack is a little suspect, and simultaneously with that, if your health is low, then it can be a little bit of a problem. but neither of those problems are what we're going to have right now. Health is high, and I know our special attack is good. One thing that can be annoying is if we get poisoned here, which it doesn't look like we did, and unless the poison comes after the cutscene. Hold on. Okay, no, we're good. So we nasty plot to buff our special attack up by 1. Ventipede is a bug type, so Flamethrower is going to take it out pretty easily anyway. Next Pokemon that she throws out is Slowpoke, and I will mention this as well. The Slowpoke that she uses is a Galarian Slowpoke, so you might be wondering, oh, aren't we a little bit worried because Slowpoke is a water type? But a Galarian Slowpoke actually is Poison Psychic. It's not water type. So Flamethrower works just fine, actually. But I appreciate your concern. Okay, so that's our first Clara fight down. Perfect. Spoiler alert, we're going to fight Clara 2 more times in this run, actually. The second fight is pretty easy. Third fight is atrocious, but we'll get a little bit more into both of those as we get closer.
We have time for a chat question.
Oh, of course.
Mivu would like to ask, are enemies' Pokemon's levels relative to yours, or are they set?
That is a great question, especially because the DLCs in this game are very unique in that regard. So because we're doing the DLC early before we do anything, area Pokemon as well as the Pokemon of the NPCs and trainers are going to be relatively low. So they are set, but they're low. So they're manageable for us. However, we can do the DLC later on in the game, you know, like after we beat you. At any point you can do the DLC, really. So you can do it mid game, end game, close to the end game, whatever you want to do it. Whoops. In those cases, the Pokemon area Pokemon as well as the NPC Pokemon are going to have significantly higher levels. So that makes it, you know, just a little bit different for that. For example, area Pokemon in the grass can be like level 10 to 15 for me, but if you come back in the end game, they're all going to be like level 60 and stuff like that. So it just depends on when you choose to tackle the DLC. But since we tackle it early, they're all going to be relatively low, and they are in fact set. Great question, though.
Where is that provide once you hit the area kind of thing?
Exactly. So as soon as we cross over into the Isle of Armor, the game reads where we're at progress wise, determines the level of the area. So that gets taken care of. This is the dojo, by the way, in front of us. So the Isle of Armor, the main story involves this dojo and us moving up the ranks through it. So we're going to enter the dojo, become part of the dojo, and the main quest of this DLC is basically accomplishing 3 tasks in this dojo in order to claim what is called the Armor of the Island. As you can imagine, Isle of Armor, Armor of the Island, it kind of makes sense. You'll get to see what that armor is in a little bit. So, but first, of course, we have to claim the 3 challenges. We have to complete them. But even before we get into the 3 challenges, we have another fight that we have to do, which is going to be against the dojo master. The dojo master's name is Mustard, just like the condiment. We're going to fight Mustard. Mostly, it usually goes to plan. Like, the fight is mainly scripted, but it can go a little bit off the rails depending on some RNG elements. Usually, it's the same exact pattern. It can be a wee bit scary, only because we do have to depend on using Fire Blast at one point. And why that's scary is Fire Blast is not a 100% accurate move. It is, I believe, an 85% accurate move. So that means it has a 15% chance to miss. If that Fire Blast misses, we are dead. So hopefully it doesn't miss, is what we'll say. The good side to that is if it misses and I die, we just reset in this dojo. So I'm not going to save or anything. You might think, well, why don't you save for this? But even if I die, I'm just going to come right back to here. So it's not like it wastes anything. But this fight against Mustard, first of all, shout out to Mustard's eyebrows, by the way, goes past his chin. Always love pointing that out. Very fun design. But this fight almost always goes according to plan. So I'm going to use Nasty Plot first. Typically, this Mienfoo will then use, what's it called? Fake Out, I think, which will then cause me to flinch. And then I'll have to use Nasty Plot again, which is fine. This is all normal. Yep, Fake Out. I'll flinch. Yep, I'll have to use Nasty Plot again. Then it'll use Force Palm, which could paralyze me, which is why we equipped the berry, and it didn't, which is great. It did paralyze me, but we had the berry equipped, which is fine. And then we have to hope for that Fire Blast hit, which we got. So now this fight is free. We're not worried anymore. And then the second Pokemon that Mustard has is a Shinx, which just goes down in one flamethrower, so no problem. So yeah, this fight went pretty much as it always goes. Wabam. All right, and that is Mustard. Spoiler alert: we will fight Mustard one more time as well. So this is not the last we'll see of those eyebrows.
When's Relish and Ketchup?
Those are later DLCs, of course. You know, those are downloadable characters. You got to get the fighter pack. You know. No, I wish there was a Ketchup and Relish, but there is nothing. Just Mustard.
Just a quick mention that there's maybe about 5 minutes left if you want to change this to a Squirtle pick.
Yeah, that's about right, I'd say. So basically, just to give context so you have an idea of when this is going to close. So we got our dojo outfit here. Mustard is going to introduce us to the first challenge. We're going to complete the first challenge, and when we return, our prize for completing the first challenge is either a Bulbasaur or a Squirtle. We get to choose. So that after we complete the first challenge is the last times that we're going to have any say in that. So the first challenge, let's go into a little bit what these challenges are. So Claire is upset because we all got these cool dojo uniforms and she didn't. So she just gets one. However, they were just stolen. They were stolen by who? Let's take a look. Slowpokes. That looked awful fast for a Slowpoke, didn't it? Looked a little quick. Well, take a look at these Slowpokes. All right. These aren't Slowpokes. Okay, these are fast pokes. These Slowpokes are schmoovin'. And our challenge is that we're going to have to go hunt down these 3 Slowpokes who have all stolen a piece of Clara's outfit and defeat them. And that is the first challenge. These Slowpokes are going to be residing in what is essentially the wild area of the DLC, the swamplands. And they're all, luckily, they're all in the same place. So we don't have to worry too much. Before we even get started, it's going to ask us if we want to change clothes, which is faster to say no. So we're going to say no. And then we're going to just heal really quickly because we're somewhat low health. Great. All right, so now we're going to head out. And we're going to get to see some more nifty fast poke movement here.
Does the outfit do anything?
Outfit doesn't do anything, all aesthetic. I actually think it does look pretty cool, honestly. So I'm not against the outfit, but it's just all aesthetic. Just a way to customize your character. So great, let's go catch some Slowpokes. And this would be another route divergence as well, a little bit. So this split is actually significantly faster when you use the Ninetales over the Sobble. And the reason why is that the Sobble here would actually have some extra items that we need to buy from a berry bender outside of the dojo. In addition to that, the Sobble would also evolve in the split to what is it called? Sobble, well, I forget, Dribble? Is it Dribble or something like that? I can't remember. Which obviously we don't have to deal with. And we would also have to teach a move, which we also don't have to do here. So the pattern is the same for all 3 Slowpokes. We're going to use Nasty Plot once, and we're going to use Flamethrower probably twice, unless it's once and we get lucky with a crit. But it's probably going to be twice. This Slowpoke was really cooperative, which is great. But the moves that you're going to see from any of the Slowpokes are going to be Yawn, which Yawn is a move that puts you to sleep after the second turn since you used it. So you can see why that would be annoying to get if the first move the Slowpoke is Yawn. Disable, which can be problematic if it's going to be on our second Flamethrower, because Disable will disable the last move that you used. So if I use Flamethrower, then it used Disable, it's going to disable my Flamethrower and cause me some problems. And then the other 2 moves are Confusion and Acid, which are damage type moves, but also could poison or confuse us. So these Slowpoke fights can be a little wild, just depending. Disable first turn is great because we didn't use a move yet, so that's good. Even if it uses Disable now, that's also fine because it would disable Nasty Plot, and we don't need to use Nasty Plot for this fight anymore. This one also cooperated. Can't complain. These fast poke fights are going fast. They know the meaning of speed. All right, so that's 2 down. We're gonna watch out for that Scraggy that's just chilling there. And we're gonna make our way down to the 3rd one here. Keep an eye on that Drapion. That Drapion's gonna be coming in use here in a little bit. All right, here we go. Now, it looks like if I had moved faster, I could have caught that cycle, but you never can. It spawns there, and you just have to go around in a circle. All right, 3rd and final Slowpoke. Let's hope for a very cooperative move set here. All right, so Nasty Plot. On turn 1 is annoying. We're going to have to use a Awakening at some point. Unless we get a crit here. Disable is fine, though. Nope, we're going to have to use an Awakening. Oop, nope. I forgot we only had 2 items there. Sometimes I'll pick up antidotes there as well. All right, so annoying. We had to take an extra turn, but, you know, the other 2 fights are really good, so I really can't complain that much. So that is the Slowpokes down, which is great. Nice and fast. Now, that Drapion, I said it was going to come in handy later, and that is because we're going to Death Warp on that Drapion, because when we die, we go back to the dojo, which is where we need to head anyway. We're going to hope that the Drapion uses Bite, because that would be a move that takes us out in one shot. We don't want to see things like Bug Bite, which does just a little bit of damage. So hopefully we get some fast moves here. Venoshock, I think, is good, actually. Not that good. We did have relatively high health. We didn't take a lot of damage, so I can't complain that much on a 2-shot. But that's a Death Warp. Now, we have the Bulbasaur versus Squirtle at Bid War unofficial ending now. Do we happen to get any other donations to help snag this either way?
No one has sniped, so it's going to be Team Bulba.
Team Bulba, okay. You know, Squirtle Squad let me down a little bit there, but it's okay. I got my Squirtle Squad right here. Got it right here, so I can't complain. So we're going to be picking Bulbasaur. It does not matter what you pick at all. They are the same amount of time. They don't affect the run really that much. So, you know, it's not like one is faster over the other or anything like that. And we do still get to see them both. So they're both going to pop out here in all of their cute and glory. And yeah, we get a nifty little prize of getting to choose one, as we're the only ones to complete the challenge.
Now this is right up my alley. These are my 2 favorites.
See, interestingly enough, I actually of the Gen 1 starters, I think Charmander is my favorite, so I don't even get a choice. I don't have a horse in the race, rather. But again, like I said, I love Gen 1, so all 3 of these starters are just really solid to me. I really can't complain. All right, Team Bulba. But it's okay. One thing that I do love about this game, because as somebody who's played Pokemon games since they've been around, there's always a twinge of sadness, right? Because you pick one starter Pokemon, your rival picks another starter Pokemon, and then there's just one left on the table the whole game, right? And you're just like, oh, that poor neglected Pokemon. You feel bad for it. But anytime in this game where you have a choice of Pokemon, they always make sure that the other Pokemon there has a home of some sort. So, like, for example, when we picked our starters, you know, we picked one, rival picked one, Leon gets the third one, so that one, it has a home. Now between Bulbasaur and Squirtle, Squirtle still has a home with Mustard's wife there, so again, can't complain too much. They all have homes, so I don't feel as bad. All right, so we're going to deposit Bulbasaur for now. Don't worry, we will see Bulbasaur one more time, and we're going to equip a P.E.K.K.A. Berry for right now as well. A little bit of exposition as well. We did not mention, we haven't talked about yet what challenge 2 is going to be. So challenge 2 is we have to go find mushrooms to make max soup, and the mushrooms we're finding are called max mushrooms. Now these are very interesting items. Obviously they make a delicious soup, and when Pokemon eat them outside of battle, it helps increase their like Dynamax potential. But in addition to that, they actually have a very interesting in-game effect, which is that if you use in battle effect, I should say, if you use a max mushroom in a battle, they're very overpowered because they boost every stat by 1. So, you know, for example, when we use Nasty Plot, we're boosting our special attack only by 1. But it's like if I used a Nasty Plot for 1 turn, but it boosted everything instead of just special attack. So it's really, really good. We're actually going to use Max Mushrooms a couple times for the actual speed run. So that's pretty cool as well. First, we need to go over to the cave where the mushrooms are. So we have to venture through this forest to get through the cave. We're going to take a little bit of a detour, pick up this item, which is a hyper potion, which you can infer why that might be useful, I'm sure. And then again, we're just trying to walk through the grass here and avoid wild encounters as much as possible. There's that Pikachu that you were looking for in Gen 1. We just passed by it. And we're gonna walk by
Viridian Forest, right?
yeah, we're a long way from Viridian Forest, but you can still find some Pikachu. Don't worry. It's a Pokemon game. You know it's gonna have some Pikachu involved. That cave way off in the distance there, that's where we're headed. We're gonna make another tiny little pit stop as well. Which is just next to that tree. You might have seen it as I was around in the corner there. There's another item ball, and that item is Moo Moo Milk. Shout out to Zelda fans, but also is a Pokemon item that heals us as well. So it's another healing item that might come into play later on. We're gonna head into the cave here. We're gonna see some mushrooms pretty quickly. We're gonna grab the mushrooms. Clara is going to have been following us this whole time, and then we're going to fight Clara for the second time. And Clara's second fight is the easiest of all 3. We actually will probably have to stall to take more damage. That's how easy it is. We actually have to take some extra damage as opposed to hoping we don't die or something like that. Yeah, so the reason being, of course, is that we want to be low health for after the fight, because we're gonna do another death warp. So the lower the health, the better. So instead of ending with Slowpoke like she did the first time, she's gonna start with Slowpoke, and the Slowpoke mass spams Confusion. So to counteract that, up top, we're gonna use our Safeguard, which means that for 5 turns we can't be confused. So it's still going to spam Confusion. We're still going to take damage, but we can't be confused when that happens. So that's really good. Meanwhile, we're going to use a bunch of Nasty Plots to really buff up our special attack while this Slowpoke takes out our health. We'll probably have to do 3 of them unless we get crit. We're going to do another one. One more. Yeah, we want to be nice and low health-wise here. And now we're going to Flamethrower. Everything for the win, and our special attack is super buffed anyway, so we're gonna one-shot everything. The unfortunate side effect is that we actually level up, I think, twice in this fight. So the 8 health that we have that's so low is going to go up by a few because we're going to level up twice. So, you know, we still going to have a little bit higher health than I would have hoped for a Death Warp. But, you know, we take what we get around here. Last Pokemon is Whirlipede, evolved version of the Venipede, which is still a bug, which means we're still going to fry it to a crisp. You know, easy peasy. So again, this fight is nothing. It's nada. And that's it. Boom goes the dynamite. Clara 2's over. Only one more fight with Clara. Still have a little bit of text to get through. Still got to actually pick the mushrooms. And then for whatever reason, I always get lucky here. So after this, I'm going to turn to my left and hope that there's a Sandshrew there. It could be any variety of Pokemon, but I'm going to hope it's a Sandshrew. But for some reason, I always get a Sandshrew there. And this isn't a bit. Like, it could be something else, but I always get a Sandshrew there. I don't know if it's luck or it's just highly likely or whatever the case may be. But the reason why I want it to be a Sandshrew, which is a ground type, which is obviously super effective against us, we would hope for something that's not Rapid Spin, because Rapid Spin is a move that doesn't take us out in one shot, but luckily Sandshrew has a lot of attack based moves anyway, so regardless what he uses, we'll probably die in between 1 and 3 hits. Oops.
I always hated Sandshrew because he kept doing sand attack, and then you just couldn't do anything, and you waste all your PP.
Yeah, I think, funny enough that you mentioned that, I think that Sandshrew does have sand attack. I think it's the only move it has that doesn't damage, but because we're just depending on dying on it anyway, it doesn't really matter if we get sand. Well, it matters if we get sand attacked a lot because we want to die, but in terms of like landing hits, because the sand attack lowers your accuracy, it doesn't become a problem for us, luckily. The speed run doesn't deal with accuracy too much at all. A little bit, but not much, which is great because accuracy is annoying.
That rapid spin that you wanted.
Yeah, accuracy can be pretty annoying in Pokemon speedrunning as a whole, but luckily don't have to worry about it too much in this one. I would like to shout out, throw back to the first challenge, right, where we had to collect the pieces of the uniform because Claire was upset she didn't get one. She's not even wearing the uniform, first of all, so that's kind of rude. Second of all, no one else in the dojo was able to complete challenge 2 besides me, and then Clara came in late with her bunch of mushrooms. Clara comes in and says, can we use my mushrooms for the soup instead of ours as the player, which is great for us, because that means the mushrooms that we picked we actually get to keep and use as battle items, so they didn't go into the soup that we all just ate, which is so weirdly enough, even though it's just lore and exposition, it actually does affect our speed tech a little bit. So we're gonna head over here. A little bit of cutscene with this kid and his Cramorant vacuum machine doesn't matter to us in the slightest in the speed run. Don't care at all. And then we're going to head over here where Mustard is going to tell us about the third and final challenge, which is just a straight up battle between Clara and us. Now is a good time to get into what this Clara 3 fight is. So this Clara 3 fight is bad, and it's bad for one reason only. The reason is the last Pokemon she uses is Slowbro. Now, Slowbro in itself is not a problem, but the Slowbro that she has an ability called Quick Draw. Quick Draw is an ability that, regardless of speed, I think it's like a 30% chance for the ability to activate, it will just allow Slowbro to go first, which creates massive problems for us. So because of that, I'm going to save before this fight because it saves time, as opposed to dying, respawning in the dojo, and re-walking out here. Saves us time, so we're going to resave. All right, so we'll walk right up to her. Save. Cool. Now, why does it matter if the Slowbro goes first? 1, it's the last Pokemon. Our health's going to be a little bit lower. 2, when you're Dynamaxed, which we will be Dynamaxed for this fight, spoiler alert. When you're Dynamaxed and you use, say, a Fire-type move, when you use that Fire-type move, it will cause a Drought after, which is great for us because Drought will boost our Fire-type attacks. We're also going to be using a lot of items and nasty plots and things like that to boost our special attack to get through this fight. If Slowbro gets to go first, Slowbro will always use, I forget the Max Geyser is what it's called, which is a water-based move. That means Slowbro will use Max Geyser. It will cause the weather to change to rain, which not only takes away our Drought, which debuffs us, it also makes it so that fire moves are weak because it's raining. So that's a problem. Also, Clara cheats this fight at the start by throwing poison spikes on the field, which is not fair, but that is why we equip the P.E.K.K.A. Berry, because we will immediately heal off that poison, which is great. So we're gonna get poison, it's gonna heal off. Great. Now, first things first, we're gonna safeguard because this Skorupi spams Poison Fang and we don't wanna get poisoned. Second thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go into our bag. We're gonna use our one set of our max mushrooms, which again boosts every stat we have. Cool, great. Third thing we're gonna do, we're gonna use a nasty plot, and then after this we're gonna have to heal, which is fine. We grabbed a bunch of healing items earlier, so we're actually gonna use the hyper potion so we heal to full, because a regular potion would only heal us 20. I'm gonna use Poison Fang again, and then we're going to use Nasty Plot one more time. So if you're keeping up, it's 2 Nasty Plots plus a Max Mushroom, so we are +3 at special attack now. Our safeguard is vanished, but that's okay because we outspeed the Skorupi, so we're gonna get to go first. boom goes the dynamite. Now, next Pokemon she's going to throw out is a Galarian Weezing. Not a problem. We're actually going to Dynamax and just take it out. And then another Whirlipede. We'll take it out while still Dynamaxed. And then the dreadful Slowbro. Now, the good news is, one, we immediately win if Quick Draw doesn't happen. We're just going to win because that means we'll get to go first. We'll get to use our buffed up attack, and it's great. Two, if Quick Draw does happen, there is still a chance that we can survive. It's obviously going to be slower, but there's still a chance that we can survive because our health is high right here. What will happen is Slowbro will use Max Geyser. I will use the Max Flare that I had planned. I will then D-Dynamax. But because I was the last move to use in that turn, the drought will return. So it's only going to rain for a second, and then we're going to turn it back to a drought. Then, assuming that the second turn happens and we don't get Quick Drawed again, then we will have a chance to land a Fire Blast on the Slowbro and kill it. Even from a D-Dynamax position. So even if we do get Quick Draw first turn, we still have a chance to win. But here we go. Come on, no Quick Draw. Yes, let's go. No Quick Draw. All of that hypothetical stuff where I was like, we might die. This is dangerous. Who knows what's going to happen? None of it's going to be a problem. We're just going to straight up kill this Slowbro. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So we get all this. We're all Dynamaxed. It's also really funny to me, since we turn off battle animations, because obviously that's faster, that we get this giant fight and then we just go, dink, and it's dead. And that's just how it goes. It's kind of, we get the climax building to these, you know, titans fighting, and then, you know, just kind of anticlimactic there. But we got through Clara 3. Last time we're going to fight Clara in this run, which is great. Great. So now you might be wondering, we completed the 3 challenges. Aren't we like through the story? And we almost are. But if you recall, this category is called Tower of Two Fists. Wherever the story goes from here is, now that we've completed the 3 challenges, we're going to get the secret armor of the island, rather. And I'll go ahead and spoil it now. The secret armor of the island is a Cubfu. So we're going to get a Cubfu that we can train. And what we need to do is we need to train up this Cubfu not only in level, but we also need to train up its friendship with us. And then we can take on one of 2 towers in the island so that we can complete the tower and then have Cubfu evolve into Urshifu. Depending on which tower you choose, Urshifu would evolve into a fighting dark type or a fighting water type. This is where RNG can really take over. Because the strategies we use for this Cubfu are very interesting. But first things first that we're going to do once we regain control is we're going to change the date in our switch clock. So we're going to go into like our switch menu here, and then we're actually going to save as well, just in case we get a bad Cubfu, with bad in terms of stats. So, all right, so we're going to go over to our settings, change our date and time to a specific date and time. All right, and then we're going to save. Great. Now we're going to talk to Mustard, and who's going to give us the Cubfu. Now, when it comes to Cubfu stats, we can actually technically run any kind of Cubfu here. The reason why it matters ever so slightly is because the most optimal strategy requires one stat to be good, which is speed. Now, the good news is Cubfu is technically a legendary Pokemon, which means that every legendary Pokemon in this game is guaranteed to have 3 out of 6 of its stats be top IV, which means that, you know, the highest level stats. And the stat we're dependent on is speed. What we're going to look for in this Cubfu when we regain control is that it has at least 20 speed, preferably higher, like 21, 22, 23, 24 would be a lot better. But we can run with 20 speed. If it has less than 20 speed, I am going to go ahead and reset it, because it would just be too unfortunate to run, and we'd have to really change up our strategy, which might really waste time. It's actually faster just to try for another Cubfu. The good news is, though, that 20 speed is very low threshold to hit, so more often than not, we get it. But let's see what we get here. Yep, great. So we have 22 speed, which means this is runnable. We're actually going to deposit Ninetales here and head out. Now, here is the massive, massive RNG portion of the run. What we do to train Kung-Fu fast, and why we change the date, is we are actually looking in these grass areas for one specific Pokemon, which is Blissey. We're looking to find Blissies. We're looking to fight and defeat them because they are just big old fat sacks of experience points, rather. The downside to this, and they only pop up in this foggy weather, which is why we change the date to when we do. The downside to this is that they are 2% spawn rate. So their spawn rate is super low. So this is why RNG really takes off here, because we're going to hope that we get early spawns, you know, and luckily enough, we actually got a pretty fast one. Not only did we get a fast one, this is actually the highest level Blissey you can get, which is actually kind of annoying to do for your first fight. We actually have a pretty strong chance to die here, depending on what we get. I'm actually, we might die. Actually, we just died, I think. Yep, that's fine. So it doesn't really affect anything beyond being slow. But the reason why you don't want it can be fine if you get a high level Blissey on the first one, if you can defeat it, because then you get a nice boon there. We would have leveled up considerably, but you know, we die, we just respawn in here and we just head back out. We would prefer, just for safety's sake, that it would be a little bit lower level so we can get by it.
Is this a Chansey evolve or is it a separate Pokemon?
It's a Chansey evolve, yes. Luckily enough, we pop outside and here's another Blissey. Again, this is a 2% spawn chance, so this is not too bad so far. Next level 15 though. Please don't do it to me again, Chansey. Blissey rather. I don't need this. I don't need to die again. Luckily, it's just using Defense Curl, which is slow but fine. Okay, let's see what damage this does. I'm gonna assume that's fine. Okay, we're good, I believe. Oh wait, no, we might not kill this turn. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so just stop. Don't use Life Dew again. Don't kill me. Good. All right, we're all right. Cool. So again, we got another level 15. If we were going to kill that, both level 15s, we'd actually be done now with grinding. We'd be good. But that's okay. Getting one level 15 is really good. And as you can see, we were level 10. We defeated that level 15 Blissey, and we are now level 16. Bumped up 6 levels with one Pokemon. So it was no joke when I said that these are big old fat sacks of hit points, because we don't need to go up too much farther after this. Depending on the level of the Blissey, we might actually be good with just one more that we can kill. And since we're level 16, none of the levels of Blissey's will scare us anymore. The only thing that does scare me a little bit is that my health is so low. But I'm toying around with the idea in my head of healing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it just to be safe, because if we do get another Blissey that's over level, oh, I forgot we leveled up a bunch though. We would have been fine anyway. Oops, that's fine. Just extra safe then. If we did get another Blissey that was level 13 or higher, it would have that echoed voice attack that would do some damage to us. So, but I forgot we had leveled up 6 levels and grabbed a bunch of extra HP there. But you know, whatever, it's fine. But now you're seeing why this can be considerably annoying, because these Blisseys just might not spawn. Oh, there's one. The other downside too is that they can run away like this. And depending on where they're facing, if they start running towards a wall and they hit the wall, they'll despawn. So that can be a relatively big problem as well. Level 10. Let me see where we're at after this. We might have to take another one. Let's see. I'm thinking. This isn't. It's like an on the fence predicament here. I'll take 1 or 2 more rounds. If it Blissey doesn't pop up, we're gonna try and move on without it. I think we would be okay. But I would feel better if just another one popped up. That would make me feel a little bit better. Let's do a couple more passes around and then we'll just move on so we don't waste a lot of extra time. The next most experience that we could get from wild Pokemon here is the Jigglypuffs, but they get, you know, it's like 1/10 of the experience that you can get from a Blissey, so it really doesn't even compare. All right, we will do one more pass around, and then if not, we will just move on with what we got, I believe.
Is this a heavy reset point in a PB attempt?
It would be, yeah, it would be. Especially considering, like, if you're trying to grind this for world record has a really fast section of this as well. So you know, it becomes a relatively heavy reset point depending on, you know, what your time is leading up to this as well. Yeah, I'm gonna opt just to be. We're in a marathon and things are going okay so for right now. So I'm gonna opt to try and find one more just to play things really close to the chest. I think I would be fine if I used my rare candy instead and just moved on. But I just am a little nervous about it, and I'd rather not die a bunch of times if I can avoid it. But yeah, 2%. This is what 2% looks like. Though, I mean, we have found 3 Blissies. I can't really complain that much. There's one. But yeah, for example, if I had gotten to that wall before I got to it, it would have despawned, which would be unfortunate. 3 Blissey, by the way, 3 Blissies in a PB attempt is actually normal. It's probably, depending on the levels of the Blissies, it's probably most common. 2 is ideal, but it's really dependent on the levels of the Blissies you get. Like, I got a level 15, which is really good. If I had gotten a level like 13, or even a level 12 maybe, then we would have been golden, but because it was level 10, we just didn't get enough experience. So 3 Blissies is pretty common, but 2 Blissies would be optimal. But we're good on Blissies. We're trained up with our Cubfu where we need to be, so this is fine. Now that we are trained up physically, we do need to train up another stat of Cubfu's, which is actually a hidden stat: friendship. What Mustard is looking for before we are able to take on one of the 2 towers is that me and Cubfu have bonded. So the game introduces something for us to bond easily, as opposed to, you know, just using Pokemon Camp or items or whatever it is, the case may be, to increase our friendship, which is going to visit any of these dojo representatives here, and then just staring at the scene around you and just bonding over what you're seeing. Right now we're looking in a cave, which I guess is kind of cool, but like, I don't know, I don't look at that cave and be like, wow, I'm glad we had this moment to share together, personally. But you know, if it works for Cubfu, it works for us. We need to hit 3 of these points to get a high enough friendship level. So we're going to hit 2 more. They are relatively kind of far away, so we do have some movement. Mannix, do we happen to have any plugs, anything we'd like to share with the crowd while we just move on over to the second point?
Sure, I can share some of the incentives that we have remaining for the day. There's no current new doing so, but the next coming one will be the new Ghostbusters 2. Pick a character. Currently, Egon is winning at $15, but Peter, Winston, and Louie are all at $10, and Ray is at $11. So I feel a snipe there. I feel one. We got River City Girls a little bit later. To pick a character, Misako is currently winning at $270, $20 over Kyoko, so that also could swing anyway. And just near the end of the marathon, the Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie. If you want to pick Mickey, you're short $26, so make sure you swing that one around too if you want to see Mickey.
All right, yeah, get those
remaining.
All right, yeah, get your donations in. All of those are within reach, so like, and they're all pretty cool games. So like, if you want to see something particular, get your donations in and just snag that incentive that you want to see met. And not only does your money go to a good cause, you just get to frame the game the way you want to. So who wouldn't want to do that? Great. So we're actually almost at the second friendship point, which coincidentally is right next to one of the 2 towers. So you remember that this tower is here, so we know when we have to potentially return to it. I'll give Cubfu this one. This is kind of nice scenery. You got your hills, you got your ocean, you know, kind of a higher viewpoint. Not too bad. We have one more viewpoint that we're gonna bond over, and I'm just gonna spoil it for you ahead of time. It is atrocious. Like, you're gonna look at the scene and you're gonna say, how can anybody think that this is beautiful? How can anyone bond over this? It's just so ugly. So just get ready for that. The third point, by the way, is we're actually going to go into the same cave that we fought Clara the second time in, where we got our mushrooms before, if you remember. We're gonna go in that safe cave, but we're gonna actually travel all the way through it and out the other side. And we're going to hit our third friendship checkpoint there, but we're also going to grab a few key items that we're going to utilize through the end game run of this. We're actually, yeah, we're getting towards the end. I'm not saying we're like, you know, time's coming up in a minute or anything like that, but we're getting towards the end. We're in like we're getting about to the climax of the run, basically. So here's the third checkpoint. Now, just take a look at this. Would you bond over this?
Would I what?
Would you bond over this? Like, is anything about what this scenery that we're seeing beautiful? No. It's just desert, cloudy, foggy, gross desert. No one would want to see that. I don't know how we have just increased our friendship level, but here we are. All right.
Taurus is one of my favorites, so to me, there's a form of bonding.
Well, yeah, Tauros is great, yeah, but the scenery, it's the scenery that's not so great. So, in addition to bonding over this questionable scenery, of course, we're going to grab two items that are very important. The first one we already grabbed, which is Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet is an item when your Pokemon is equipped to it. Whenever a physical move is done to you, it will damage your opponent as well, and that's going to be very important for one key fight later. And we also grab a TR for reversal, which I'll explain a little bit more later. But for now, we are going to we're gonna grab our Bulbasaur, the one that we got some donations in for, and we're gonna have that out with us for a second here. And I think this Bulbasaur can take on this Rhyperior pretty easy. I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, so we're just gonna take it on. We're level 5, Rhyperior is level 50. I'm not worried. Oh shoot, I guess I should be worried. In reality, of course, I'm not fooling anybody. This is planned. It's a death warp. The reason why we swapped to Bulbasaur, though, instead of just doing it with Cubfu, because you might be wondering, oh, well, Cubfu would heal anyway. What's the problem? The reason why I choose to do that, and I do this a lot. Oops, I do this a lot in marathon settings, especially, is that because fainting affects our friendship level with our Pokemon. So especially because I fainted once with Cubfu already, I was a little bit nervous about our friendship level, and I did not want to risk it by then fainting Cubfu again and not having enough friendship to satisfy Mustard here. If that were the case, if I did do that and my friendship level wasn't high enough, since we don't have any more checkpoints, what I would then do is I would use the Pokemon camp and play with toys with Cubfu in the meantime. That's what I would do. But luckily we don't have to do that, so that's great. So we have satisfied Mustard's friendship level requirement. He then tells us we have 2 towers that you can take Cubfu to and take on the towers. Tower of Water, Tower of Darkness. We are going to choose the Tower of Darkness. 1, it's faster, so we're speedrunning. But 2, even if we wanted to choose the Tower of Waters, we actually can't, because the Tower of Waters is surrounded by water. And as I mentioned at the very top of this run, one of the unique challenges that a DLC run early causes is that we don't have the ability to surf. So I can't even get in the tower if I wanted to. But it's fine because the Darkness Tower is faster anyway. So it worked out. So all we're going to do is we're going to walk on over to the tower. And what happens inside the tower is 5 trainers that we're going to fight. Luckily, they all have 1 Pokemon. However, if I were to lose to any trainer, we go back to the bottom of the tower and have to start over. So in preparation, I'm actually going to take a menu. We're going to go over here and I'm going to teach reversal. All right. Now, reversal. If you're unfamiliar with what reversal does, reversal is a fighting-based move that the lower your health is, the more damage you do. And this is quintessential to the strategy that I'm going to showcase. So what we're going to combine is Cubfu in addition to just learning reversal with that TR, also knows a move called Endure. So because a lot of the Pokemon that we're about to fight are higher level than us, we're gonna go in starting at level 18. We're gonna level up once or twice in the actual tower, but the last Pokemon we fight is level 30, so they're higher level than us. To circumvent this, we are going to use combination Endure, which is a move that if you're hit and you are about to faint, you will survive with 1 hit point instead. Then, because we outspeed pretty much everything in the tower, at least when relevant to using this combination, we will then get to use reversal, which when we're at 1 health is going to deal maximum damage. So you can kind of see the strategies that we're going to implement here. It's very creative. One of the reasons why I love Pokemon speedrunning so much is because we find these really crafty and creative solutions to hard problems. And I think it's just really neat, really neat. So here's the Darkness Tower. Just as I mentioned as well, the tower you choose also will determine the type of Urshifu that your Cubfu will evolve into at the end. So we're going to get a fighting. Oops. Do I have to do all that talking again? Yep, I hit B by accident when it was yes or no. Depending on the type of tower we choose is what type of Urshifu it gets. Now it doesn't matter, we just have to get Urshifu. We don't have to do anything with Urshifu once we're done. We just have to get it. So it doesn't particularly matter what it evolves into, but if you're playing casually and you're interested in what the difference is beyond who you fight, that's one of the differences. So Trainer 1 sends out a Zorua. The Zorua is pretty much a non-factor. We're going to just use Rock Smash on it twice. Pretty easy. And we actually don't mind. So Fury Swipes is annoying because it's a long move, but we actually don't mind taking damage here quite a bit because we're going to utilize the Endure reversal strategy on Trainer 2 coming up. And if our health is too high, we're actually going to have to stall a turn, which our health is too high, so we're going to have to stall a turn. But you know, that's 1 trainer down, level up to 19, easy peasy. So Zorua and Trainer 1. Trainer 2 has a Scraggy. And like I said, our health is a little high. We're going to have to do a little bit of a stall here. So instead of just using Endure and then Reversal, because the Scraggy couldn't take us out in 1 shot if it wanted to, we're going to use Leer. Which is also handy because Leer lowers the defense, so it makes it so we're going to do a little extra damage. And then Endure and then Reversal. Alright, so stall turn while Scraggy hits us once. Great. Then we're going to use Endure. Great, so you brought down to 1 health, just as planned. Reversal. Take it from full to empty. Boom shakalaka. Great. And because we didn't level up here, that means we're going to go into Trainer 3 and our health is already at 1. So we don't even have to use Reversal because we outspeed everything. We can, we don't even have to use Endure. Because we outspeed everything, we can just straight up Reversal for the win. Which is great news. Now, there is, I will say, because I didn't pay strong attention to what my attack stat is, there is a small chance that I'll use Reversal here and I won't do enough damage. So we would just die. But luckily, it's not too much. It's a low chance, for 1, and 2, even if I did die, we would just bop back to the bottom of the tower. It's not like we got crazy far into it anyway. But luckily, again, not a problem. We defeat Inkay, no worries. So if you're keeping count, that's 3 trainers down already. We only have 2 more to go. This next trainer we actually have to do a little bit of prep for, so we're actually going to go into our bag and you're just going to use 1 potion because no matter what, oops, even if our speed stat was at its highest, there we go, this trainer who has a Krokorok would outspeed us. Krokorok is a pretty high speed Pokemon, so that's fine though, because we're still going to use Reversal on turn 1. And hopefully we're going to get a damaging move from Krokorok on turn 1 because that would be fastest. Krokorok also does like to use Protect, which just delays the inevitable. Yeah, there you go. Uses Protect, which means that Reversal won't work, which is just, so it's like we both wasted a turn. There we go. There's some damage, and that is low enough health that we can just one-shot this Krokorok. Easy peasy. Great. So we're level 20 and we only have one more fight to go. Don't worry though, time doesn't end after this fight. We have a little bit of a cutscene after. But the fight that's at the end is with none other than Mustard himself. I told you he'd be coming back. But before we even fight Mustard, we do have to do some menu prep. So first, we're gonna go into our bag. We're gonna heal to full. Oops, I exited my bag. Second thing we're gonna do is we're gonna equip that Rocky helmet that we did before. And third thing we're gonna do is save, because even if things go, like even if I execute properly here, there's still a chance we could die on Mustard. So what the plan here is, Mustard is gonna come at us. First of all, before I even get to the plan, I wanna shout this out because he's about to do a transformation, Mustard here. Check this out. So we got your regular old Mustard. Remember, droopy eyebrows. Now we got the Super Saiyan eyebrows that are flying up. Second of all, what's the Pokemon he's going to use? Kubfu. So get your Spider-Man memes ready. You know, Spider-Man's pointing at each other. All right, here's the strat. So here's what we're going to do. Turn 1, we're going to use Max Mushrooms. Ideally, the Kubfu will deal some damage to us. That's probably what will happen. So turn 1, we're going to use Max Mushrooms to buff ourselves. First things first, this Kubfu crits, we're dead. So there's nothing we can do about it. So obviously no crit. Because we equip the Rocky helmet, it does damage to us. Oops, not bag. I always do this. All right, now we're going to use Endure. Now here's where it can go south. Kubfu has 3 fighting moves and 1 non-fighting move, which that move is Focus Energy. If it had used Focus Energy there when I used Endure, we would be dead, because then Endure would fail, obviously, and you can't use Endure back-to-back successfully. It'll just fail. Luckily, we got a damaging move. We then use Reversal. We had done enough damage between the 2 hits with the Rocky helmet plus our Reversal to win the fight. So that's actually all the fights. Time is coming up pretty soon. You have about 2 minutes, actually, a little less than 2 minutes. We have the final cutscene and the evolution of Kubfu to Urshifu. But otherwise, besides a little bit of bad Blissey RNG and a few, like, you know, menuing mistakes and things like that, this run was pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with it. I'll go ahead, you know, just to keep us on track and everything, I'll go ahead and start doing my shout outs and plugs and stuff now, just so we can get a move on with the marathon and stay on schedule and all that. So first of all, thank you to Strizer, the entire crew behind this Game Over Cancer events. This is the second time I've gotten to run in such an event, and I'm always just so honored. My mother has been diagnosed with cancer 2 separate times in her life. The second time had a high likelihood that she would pass away, but I'm incredibly grateful to say that she was able to make it through. So causes that support cancer research, cancer prevention, anything that involves helping cancer patients, I'm always very passionate to support. So thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone who's donated towards this cause. If you are interested in Pokemon speedrunning or interested in this run in particular, come on by speedrun.com/whatever Pokemon game you want to run. This is actually in the category extensions of Sword and Shield, so if you don't see it on the main category board, that's why. But you can also join our Discords, and we'll be happy to give you some tips. And there's also all kinds of guides and stuff on there. And if you like Pokemon speedruns or speedruns of other kinds, such as, you know, Bug Snacks is another game I'm pretty known for, Grand Fandango, another game that I run quite often, other Pokemon games as well, come on by twitch.tv/KonceptioN2. I'll be glad to have you. We chill, we hang out, we have a good time. So feel free to swing on by. Time is coming up in just a few seconds, and time.
GG.
Thank you so much. So yeah, that's it for me. Again, thank you so much for having me. Check out our Urshifu here, that, you know, taller than us and everything. But yeah, thank you for having me. Hope you all enjoyed the run. And yeah, just reach out to me if you all have questions or just want to talk about speedrunning. Come on by.
Thanks for sharing a part of your personal story too. I think we're all affected by cancer one way or another, so it was cool to hear a little bit about how that has affected you. And also, I want to rip a page of Mivu's book here, saying that your commentary was absolutely stellar, just entertaining the whole way, but not too much that you would lose somebody who doesn't know too much. Like, I don't know anything, and I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I could follow you. So I really appreciated the type of commentary that you can tell that you've put effort in. So shout outs to you.
Well, thank you very much to who said that in chat, as well as you, Manix. That means a lot to me. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no problem. That was from Mivu24.
Thank you, Mivu. That was very kind of you to say. Really appreciate it.
Everybody, don't go anywhere. We're gonna take a trip to Blighttown. Dark Souls Remasters is coming up. Let's listen to some tunes, and we'll be right back.